Now, the young babies, when they're getting it early, before they've been exposed, it's prevented. They took that off the table for them. It's like having a polyp removed with colon cancer, just took that off the table. When you're older and get them, it just kind of decreases the risk a little bit, but it doesn't 100% take it away. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that's kind of that information. So we talked a little bit about screening already. There is a video out there on YouTube where you can actually do self-screening on yourself. You don't have to wait to go to the dentist. My mom, bless her heart, she was talking about getting her Medicare plan changed. About they gonna give me free dental care. I said, Mom, you got denture, you don't need to go to the dentist. So for those that may be, you can do your own. Yeah, it's like, no ma'am, you don't need that. But anywho, so what you can do your own. Just put your finger inside your mouth, run it along your cheek. See if you feel anything sticking out, any bumps or lumps, and it won't be soft and squishy. It'll be kind of firm, like a nodule. Run it on the inside of both cheeks, along your jaw, along there, all on the inside, up top, and look under your tongue on the inside of your teeth. Run your fingers down underneath there, run it up top. If you feel something that's out of the way, or something that's tender that wasn't tender or been tender for a while, and it didn't go away. Now, all of us get those little places. Get them little places in your mouth. Sometimes you get, I forget what I call them, canker sores or baby thrush or something, whatever it is. We will occasionally get those little tender spots in your mouth, but they go away. This is a spot of tenderness that does not go away. So when you talk about head and neck cancer, and I'm going to go on because Mr. Bohr is going to come and talk about esophageal. The treatment, though, for all of these, this head and neck cancer, if I was grouping it into one thing, remember it's about 4 or 5 different kind of cancers within that head and neck kind of realm. So when you talk about it, treatment depends on the location of the tumor, the stage, meaning how much cancer do you have. Stages generally go from stage 1 up to stage 4, depending on what stage. How old you are. If someone is younger, they are going to tend to be able to tolerate more treatment than someone that has a little more seasoning. That's what I call a little more seasoning. And what is your general health? The problem is that if you are a chronic smoker and somebody that's drinking a lot of alcohol, typically you have a lot of other health problems going on too. Most of the people that smoke a lot got some kind of lung issues going on. Most of the time they probably have some heart issues going on along. Most people that drink a lot probably have a little liver problem going on or some kidney problems going on. So depending upon what your general health is, a diagnosis, and depending on whether or not your HPV status. Because while knowing whether or not you're HPV positive or you have one of those cancers that's driven by HPV, the reality is HPV cancers of the head and neck respond better to treatment. They respond better to chemo, they respond better, and you can actually get a person better and well with those HPV cancers if you find it early, before it gets to those later stages. So the options for treatment, either surgery, radiation therapy, or I got drug therapy here, because there's a lot of different kind of drugs now that you can get. Everybody kind of knows about chemotherapy, the stuff that makes your hair come out and all that stuff. Yeah, you can still do chemo, but they got all these other categories of drugs now, these targeted drugs and these immunotherapy, they work different. Chemotherapy works like a scavenger gun. It's like anything that grows fast is going to kill it. So that's why you got all those side effects of chemo. These other new drugs that they got out there, they don't work like that. They're very specific. They're only going to target the cancer itself. So you don't have nausea, vomiting, you don't have hair coming out, you don't have none of that stuff going on. Don't mess with your blood count, because it's only going to affect the cancer itself. So whether or not you're getting chemo, whether or not you're getting some of these other drugs, and you can get all 3 of these options. It just depends. But think about it. If you're getting surgery somewhere up here on your neck, are you eating? Are you swallowing good? Can you taste stuff? Are you chewing good? So what's happening? How do you get your strength, and how do you maintain whoever you are? The only way you maintain your strength is by what you eat. If you can't eat, or you don't eat, or you can't get a sufficient amount of nutrients in, you're going to lose weight. And if you lose weight, you're going to lose energy, and your stamina, and then the whole fight is much, much harder. Much, much harder. So all of these treatment options are there. They're good if people get them. So I just want to leave you with the fact that head and neck cancer is something that you don't see a lot of, We really need to be vigilant about things that we can change. We can change the fact of getting our children vaccinated. We can change the things about what screens are available to us. We can also make sure we're reporting when things don't get better, that we talk to people about what needs to happen, or something looks different or feels different. Make sure you're reporting that and going to your doctor. Any questions from me before Mr. Glover comes up? Thank y'all so much.
But to understand esophageal cancer, you need to know about the bone structure of it. So on your handout, you can see where I have the esophageal structure. You see where the tongue is located, the upper esophageal sphincter, and the trachea, and the esophagus. And where that leads down to like your stomach. That's on the second page of the handout. The esophagus, parts and mechanism. The esophagus is part of the digestive system. Its function is to channel the food from our mouth to our stomach. Okay? The esophagus has several parts. The pharynx, the upper sphincter, and the lower. And in that diagram, you'll see that. And on the third page, I have information about the anatomy of the esophagus. Again, it shows you the trachea. And on this one, it shows you about the sternum, and your thoracic cavity, and the diaphragm. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the chances of getting esophageal cancer. That increases with age, okay? It's not normally a young person's, disease or cancer. About 9 in 10 people with esophageal cancer are found to be people aged 55 or older. So I'm in that category. And some of you all are too as well. Also, being a male, you're more likely to get esophageal cancer than women. Okay? And you probably have heard the term, some people don't use the formal term, I would say it's esophageal, they'll say esophagus. So that's another term, another name for esophagus cancer. It can start anywhere along the esophagus. It starts in the inner layer of the esophagus wall and then grows outward. Scientists have found several factors that affect the risk of esophageal or esophagus cancer. A cancer risk is a factor that anything that increases your chances of getting the disease. Okay? Like last week, we talked about some of the risks with colorectal cancer that we can't change, like a family history, things of that nature. Okay? But having a risk factor also with esophageal, or if you have a polyp, and if they catch it in time, that does not mean that you will develop colon cancer or esophageal cancer. So the chances of catching it sooner are a lot better. That's what just by any cancer that you get. If they catch it early, you get screened early, you can, they can treat it. Some of the signs and symptoms of esophageal cancer, you don't always get those symptoms right away. Okay? Trouble swallowing, these signs and symptoms, they can be from eating some bad food, getting food poisoning or something like that. If you get food poisoning, you're going to throw up, you understand? So, but this is, if you're having these symptoms for a long period of time, that's when you need to go get checked out, okay? Chest pain or heartburn, that's one of the symptoms as well. I'm going to go on to the next page. Weight loss, that can be with a number of things that are going on with a person. A person, it could be from colorectal cancer, it could be from prostate cancer, breast cancer. But if you're just losing weight for no reason, you're not trying to lose it, you eat everything that's not nailed down, and you just wonder where is your food, why you not having any food that's down. That's something you need to check out, okay? Hoarseness, chronic cough, vomiting, or after eating your food, feeling tired, any type of bone pain. And for some reason, the information I got, they said, not eat enough fruits and vegetables. So, again, just try to eat those fruits and vegetables, and obesity. And as I was saying at the beginning of this, we know some of these symptoms can be caused by other things. So if you still have symptoms, again, go to your doctor and let them check them out and see what's going on. And as Ms. Wells spoke to you guys, and I'm getting ready to talk about the risk factors. Smoking is a risk factor that across the board with a lot of things. So if you can quit smoking, quit it. If you're not smoking, don't try it. Maybe like this mom that she tried, but she just couldn't take it away. She took that one sip. Okay? Smoking is the most significant avoidable risk of esophageal cancer. The use of tobacco products, cigarettes, cigars, pipes, chewing tobacco. She was saying that really in chewing tobacco. I remember my dad used to chewing tobacco. Check this out. Smokers are at least 5 times more likely to develop cancer compared to non-smokers. And this risk increases over time and how often you do it. And I have to give you my picture of different types of tobacco. We got some cigarettes and other things in there. I don't have very many young people in here, but I'm going to talk about vaping. A lot of people think they can't get things because of vaping, but you can. As Ms. Jenny said, that nicotine there's nicotine that's in here, in the vapor, the vapor we do, and that is very addictive. That nicotine is very addictive. Like she said, it's almost like crack or something like that. So do your best. You got young teenagers, grandchildren. Oh, grandpa, I'm not smoking no cigarettes, but I'm vaping. Okay, that's just vaping. Okay, so try to work with them on that. And also, it says in here, sometimes product labels don't list the true nicotine content. Because of this, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, they do classify that as a tobacco product. Okay. Going on to the next page, where we're going to talk about alcohol consumption. This is for like heavy drinkers, having a glass of wine every now and then. That's not a bad thing. And again, as we said, tobacco, cigarette smoking is 5 times more likely. Heavy drinkers are nearly 5 times more likely to develop this as well. How many of you have heard of GERD? GERD, G-E-R-D. Okay, GERD. That is gastroesophageal reflux disease, G-E-R-D. That is chronic acid reflux that can lead to Barrett's esophagus. And that increases the risk of esophageal acid carcinoma. Okay? I have a little acid reflux. At one time, I didn't know what was going on with me. Chest pains, and I had some vomiting as well after I ate something. I'm like, it's too greasy. And they put me on a little take it religiously because I don't want those symptoms. I mean, it's such a bad feeling. At one time, I was having chest pain so bad, I thought I was having a heart attack. It was like, let me take you to the doctor. And I'm like, no, take me to the doctor. And why you don't want to go? I'm like, I just don't want to go. But I have to watch what I eat. Stay away from those fried greasy foods. A lot of that stuff that's totally not good. Not only with esophageal and throat and other things like that. When you eat a lot of greasy fried foods and stuff like that, and hot spicy food, that's not good for your cholesterol. It's not good for your high blood pressure. Well, it's chronic disease, and if you can stay high cholesterol free, diabetes free, you're doing a good thing with high blood pressure, okay? Again, the greatest risk factor for esophageal cancer is smoking. Two main types of esophageal cancer. I'm probably going to chunk up this second word. Esophageal squamous cell carcinoma. Did I get it right, Ms. Jennings?
Squamous.
Say it again.
Squamous.
Squamous. Esophageal squamous cell carcinoma, the ESC. Squamous cell carcinoma begins in the flat, thin cells that line the surface of the esophagus. So if we look at that diagram on page 2, where I have that, you can see where the flat, thin surface of the esophagus is, where that would start at. And that one is the ESCC. That is the most common esophageal cancer, they say, worldwide. And the other one, another main type is the esophageal and the carcinoma, and that's the EAC. And that begins in the cells of the glands of the esophagus. Okay? And those glands produce mucus. Sometimes they may have a lot of mucus and stuff in it. So if it's not from a cold or not from something like that, go and get that checked out to see what's going on. You shouldn't just have mucus in your throat staying in there for a long period of time. Stages of esophageal cancer. The American Joint Committee on Cancer, they often use the TNM system. And that T stands for tumor. That is the extent size of the tumor and how far the cancer has grown. Okay? And to the wall of the esophagus. They check, has the cancer reached nearby structures or organs? And we'll say, has it metastasized or has it reached to a different stage? Again, most esophageal cancer start in the innermost lining of the esophagus. And the abdomen and then grows into deeper layers over time. The N in the T and M stands for nodes. We're checking to see has the cancer spread to lymph nodes that are nearby. If so, how many? And then the M in the T and M is from metastasized. And that's determined if it has spread to different parts of the body as well, or distant organs such as your lungs or your liver, because of where your esophagus is located. When they diagnose you, there's numbers or letters after the T or the N or the M. They provide you with more details about those factors. The higher the number, like if you have a stage 2 or a stage 3 or a stage 4, the number behind them, that means it's a more severe case of it versus a lower number. Like you hear about the different stages of cancer, stage 1, stage 2, that's a small, a relative small, lower rate of the cancer than you were before. And on this page where I have the stages of esophageal cancer, you see that where it has stage 1, 2, and 3. It says only in the esophagus, either on the surface or deeper in the tissue. That's how they'll know if it's a stage 1 or stage 2. Also, in stages of esophageal cancer, when you look at that picture, it's spread from the esophagus and nearby lymph nodes to other areas of the body. If you look at that diagram, you can see how it has spread.
Red spots and spread.
In 7 of 10 people in the U.S., esophageal cancer is not found until it has spread outside of the esophagus. So, pay attention to your body again. I mean, that's for everything. I'm going to say it every time y'all hear me talk the first to know if something's not right with your body. You know your body better than anybody, right? So pay attention to your body. Two other factors that might also affect the stage of esophageal cancer, those are the different type of grades. Grade X is the grade that cannot be evaluated, and this grade is unknown. So we're waiting on, I guess that's still out. For them to give us a note to add in here to that.
They didn't assess it. They don't know. They didn't check.
Okay. And G1, that's a low grade. The cancer cells still look somewhat like normal esophageal cells. G2 is a moderate differentiated, and that's the immediate grade. And that's somewhere between a G1 and a G3. G3, that's poorly differentiated, and it's undifferentiated. It's a higher grade. The cancer cells look very abnormal. Okay? Location of the tumor. You can see that in each one of those diagrams up there, the smaller and the bigger one. Low grades tend to grow and spread more slowly than high grade cancers. The tumor is usually located or found in the upper, middle, or lower base of the middle where the tumor is located. And on this back page, it talks about the staging groups. When a person's T, N, and L, we talked about that, but the T stands for tumor, and the N stands for, what does the N stand for?
No.
What does the M stand for? Very good. Okay. The location, once they have been determined, this information is combined, and that's where they do the staging group process. That's how that is assigned. The early stage esophageal cancers are called the stage 0. It's a high-grade dyslipsia. Did I say that right? Dysplasia. I have been up since 5 this morning. And rain. But stages then range from 1 to grade 4. And again, as a rule, the lower the number, the less the cancer has spread. Okay? A higher number means the cancer has spread more. And so my closure or conclusion to esophageal cancer awareness, again, there are multiple factors associated with esophageal cancer, but again, smoking stands out as the greatest risk. So you can avoid smoking or quit smoking, reduce or limit your alcohol consumption, eat more leafy, healthy green veggies and fruits, avoid excessive fried, greasy, spicy food, exercise, manage your GERD if you've been diagnosed with that, and get screened to help avoid the risk of developing esophageal cancer. I have some information if you have someone that smokes and they want to quit, or you want to kind of advise them without doing a whole lot of talking and have some real cards. You know, you want to put somebody a little piece of money sometime, they don't know if I have some small cards, just slide it to them. We have the quit line, so this is the Department of Health, so I have information on that as well. So stop smoking, say no to vaping, and remember, I always say your health is your wealth. It is good to be alive, but it's best to live. Does anyone have any questions for me? Do it in moderation. Everything is moderation. I haven't had Popeyes in a minute, but I kind of switched from Popeyes. I used to love me some Popeyes. But I started going to KFC. It's not as greasy. I did the original. It's not as greasy. And, every now and then I still a little hot sauce on there if I want a little kick or something like that. Or get a little green pepper. But again, moderation. Moderation.
So don't go 3 times a week, 1 time.
Or maybe once every 2 weeks.
But this is the thing I tell people, you got to start somewhere. If you're a person that's going 3 times a week and you cut back to 2, I'm gonna be happy. But you set a goal to start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere. If I tell you you can't have no Popeye chicken, you gonna look at me and walk out that door and go get Popeye. I'd rather you set realistic goals and say I'm not gonna go as often.
The question I want to have is, my son who uses it, I think he's about 16, had mono. Are you saying that that virus stays in the system?
It can hang around. So the fact that he's had it doesn't mean that he's gonna get a cancer. It's just for his doctors and as he goes through the rest, just tell him, I had mono when I was young, so that they can just check. It's just like anything else. If you have certain things that happen in your life, certain health conditions, when you go to the doctor throughout your life, you need to tell them, or he needs to tell them, I had mono when I was whatever years old.
Okay.
But the one thing I want to add, and she brought up the question about reflux. The thing about reflux is that the acid in your stomach is used to digest food, it tears it down. But when that acid comes up in your esophagus, it's like acid on anything else. It'll eat the lining away, and it'll burn. And if you constantly have reflux, it is not controlled, and it's always doing that, that basically irritates and breaks down the line of your esophagus and sets you up to a situation where you can have some esophageal cancer because of that constant burning of the acid. I think that was one of the questions you had. So controlling it, we all got a little bit of it, so make sure you control it. You know, if you eat that Popeye chicken, it's gonna get you going with your reflux, you might better leave it alone. So you monitor and know what is going to make your reflux flare and try to avoid those things.
If you're on medication, they tell you take it for 14 days, and then, or they tell you to take it forever. So, or do you take it as needed?
What medicine depends on the medicine. So if you are on a medicine, an antibiotic, they'll tell you 14 days and you're done with it. But if you have a condition like reflux, unless you lose a whole lot of weight and change your diet a whole lot, you pretty much on that medicine for the rest of your life. So losing weight and changing your diet, you can manage and get rid of reflux without medicine. But if you gonna stay nice and pleasing,
if you don't feel that acid anymore, like my doctor told me to stay on acid reflux, but I don't take acid reflux because I don't feel that acid in my stomach. I don't feel it like that no more.
you don't feel it like that because it's controlled. But if you're on blood pressure medicine, you don't feel bad either, but it's controlled. So just
What's controlling it?
controlling is because the pill that you're taking is suppressing that acid that's in your stomach. No. What I'm saying is that you may not feel it.
Okay.
You may not feel it, but it can still be slow damaging. So I'm not telling you to get back home, but I'm asking you to have that conversation with your doctor.
Okay. Because the reason I was on in the first place, because I kept having that roll it up, and roll it back down, and roll it up. And when I went, and well, after I had my colonoscopy, she told me, she said, I want you to stay on those, I want you to get on, and she told me what the name was.
Whichever one it was.
Well, anyway, she had to get them at Walmart, and then I could get the one over the counter. But, and I started taking them, and I took them for a while. And then, but I stopped having it, you know, but I did change my eating habits, and I stopped eating a lot of different
There you
stuff.
go.
I don't eat no
Eat
crab, no
smaller
that.
portions,
And
So,
so-
I eat smaller portions. So I said, I don't have it.
So you may not need it, you may not need it, but when you go back to the doctor, have that conversation with him or her so that they're aware. And they may say, you lost weight, you changed your diet, so you don't need it anymore. And that's fine, but make sure that they're aware that you're not taking it. That's fine, especially you did things to control it yourself without depending on medicine. So that's a good thing.
You also said something about mucus.
So with the mucus, it's like you can't ever clear your throat.
it's just stuck, seems like something. You're always trying to clear your throat because you always feel like something is in your throat and it doesn't go away. I'm not talking about after you have a cold. I'm talking about that's just where you live every day. Every day, months at a time, you always feel like you got to clear your throat if there's something in your throat. That's something that needs to be checked. Doesn't mean that it's cancer, but if you constantly always feel like you got mucus or secretions stuck, and it's been weeks and months and it doesn't go away, you need to go get checked. And I will say this, when you're getting a colonoscopy, that's different than getting an upper GI. An upper GI is when they go through your mouth and they will look at all those places that we talked about tonight. They will look at the back of your throat. They will look at all those places, that pharynx and your voice box. They will look, visibly see your esophagus and actually look inside your stomach. So if you are a person that has a lot of reflux or a lot of acid problems, that may be something that they had, do an upper GI or endoscopy is other word, as well as a colonoscopy. They're two separate tests. Yeah, I did go from, So you good. yeah, I did go from, good, Dr. Darby is mine, yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, what Deborah said is know your body. Know your body, and don't just say, oh, that's just what I do. That's just what I do. I just burn all the time right here. That's just what I do. We need to
That's
stop
not
there.
normal.
You need to stop there.
That's right, that's not normal.
That's not normal. Some may right. And some may right, go get it checked. And if you don't have insurance, go to the health department.
When we were talking about the mucus, stay away from dairy. It makes it thick.
Yes.
Makes your mucus thicker.
Yeah. They're waiting for what?
Dairy,
Dairy.
any kind of dairy product.
If you have a problem with it, it does, that lactose and all that kind of thing. I love this, y'all. Talking, real talk.
Pastor?
Be with Mike.
I think you need this now. I think you need this now. I'm gonna pass it on.
All right. We have two more sections. Are this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sometimes you get, where you get so much impression, you get scared. We are, we're going to read everything you read, you got. Thank you for coming. And, you've given us your time, got a little something here for you. Just maybe, the president can use to make the gas prices go so high.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Anytime.
Father, we thank you for our time tonight. We just praise you for allowing Mr. Wells to come and the Lord enlighten us. Perhaps we can be educated enough to head off some of the things that might come upon our body. And we can be able to maybe, the Bible says, know our body. It says, know our body. And we can examine ourselves. And we can make adjustments. Things that we control, help us say stop smoking and drinking. I know the Bible says a little wine for the stomach sake, but not a whole lot of wine. Not Jack Daniels. And so we think. Help us to get up and get moving. exercise.
Yes.
Obviously, that we should do that. So we thank you. We pray that as we go forward next week, our next session, we get ready to go back. Invite people, more people to come, because we are dying. It says that men, said most men, it's the last thing we do is go to the doctor. So help us with